Hey guys, Harry here, and we're back again with another Bricklaying vlog. Today, we're back on this boundary wall again. The boundary wall continues. I don't know what part it is going to be or what I'll title the video, but it's the same video where I was doing the bit of pillar building, and I was, it was before I had the headcam, so this was one of the last videos you saw me recording with a phone. So yeah, I'm recording this on the Sunday night. I can feel the heat coming back. We've had a nice cool weekend in my area, and now we're back to the heat. I can feel it setting back in. I've had a look on the weather forecast, highs of 24 again. I'm not looking forward to it at all. I've got labour back on Monday tomorrow. So yeah, this is footage from Friday. Obviously, if you've already seen the block work video, that was last video. This is the day after that. Basically, I'll just explain a few things how I'm building this. This is the Squint panel. This is a little 12 brick run. This was the wall I was referring to when I said I could have put like a bit of timber strapped up at each side. Obviously, it's a bit awkward because it was on a squint, but it would have sped things up considerably, because if you'll see in this video, I do speed up the times where I build the little corners, the little four-course corners. And the only reason for that is I just got bored of seeing me do level work. That's all you see nowadays. I see a lot of the time now, obviously, because I've got the headcam, I tend to record everything. So I'm trying to just cut down, just try to specify the content to each video. So today's video is going to be when should you do pick and dip or when should you do traditional. Obviously, according to YouTube, you should never do pick and dip because it's rough as fuck, but if you want to lay pick and dip and do it a little bit quicker, a little bit easier, when should you use it? You'll see in this video I'm using a bit of a hybrid, either a pick and dip, sort of this style here where I'm going backwards, pressing the brick forward into the mortar, or I'm using a sort of long spread style variant where I'm doing either pick and dip going forwards, or I'm doing like a pick and dip / front tip. So I'm still not putting grooves in the spread, I'm still just laying out a long spread without grooves, and I'm sliding the brick back, and then sometimes with the excess mortar I'm just putting a little front tip on. And that's sort of basically what the guys in the Spec Mix 500 Bricklaying competition in Las Vegas do. They're doing a front tip sort of variant. Obviously they're just doing in a sense they're never putting grooves in the spread, they're just laying out a bed as you would for a long spread pick and dip, and then they're just using that front tip of the excess of the mortar to make sure they get a full head joint at the face side anyway every time, because obviously that's what's judged, and the building obviously a 9-inch wall, so and they have to point both sides of it. I think I'm pretty sure they do anyway. So yeah, and basically for this video I've been using slightly different methods, getting used to more traditional styles again. To be quite honest, I'm probably as fast laying this style as I am laying pick and dip. It just depends on the mortar. A lot of the time the mortar was becoming a little bit wetter as the day wore on, so I just found it easier to try and just hone my one scrape technique. It's the one swipe. It's probably the most efficient to do it any time when you're doing either traditional or pick and dip. A good way I like to to practice this is try and just slow your hand movement down when you're pressing the brick down. Try to just press it down in one motion slower. In actuality you'll probably lay the brick slightly slower at first, but if you can just keep practicing that, when you just take the brick and then as you put, and this applies to pick and dip or traditional, whatever you're going to do, as you're placing the brick down, you just got to press the brick slowly down straight to the line, and don't worry about doing multiple swipes. Just get ready to, as you're pressing, move your trowel up to catch that mortar in like one motion, so it's like press and swipe in one motion, instead of doing the little bit of obsessive like sort of shoe shining that I do on the brickwork all the time. My trowel, I tend to just do a few swipes, a bit like a shoe shine technique, sort of mainly referred to in boxing when they do flurries of punches. But in terms of bricklaying, it's you're sort of shining the brick up with your trowel, and you're mainly putting your shine on your trowel. and wasting a little bit of time there. So yeah, this is what I mean. So as you can see, press and swipe at the same time. This is probably more indicative. This is obviously a 2 swipe I was doing here. That's a little bit of shoe shine in there, a little bit of trowel shine in there, as you can see. Same press down. Obviously, because you see there again, shoe shining, I have a big tendency to do that on every brick, and it just comes with habit, and it feels nice to do now and again. It's something I never really used to do until I sort of started taking more care of my work. Back about 4 or 5 years ago, I was a little bit on the rougher side a lot of the time, just due to rushing really, because obviously trying to cover wages, prices weren't quite as good, 4 or 5 years ago, and obviously lack of experience all comes down to slowing you down. So just trying to cover a labourer's wage years ago were a big obstacle, whereas I don't have that trouble anymore. Mainly just due to experience and speeding up, and a lot of the tips I've highlighted throughout these videos I've been making on YouTube. But that's the biggest thing that I've been working on at the moment. The 1 swipe or the 1 scrape, which whatever you want to call it, cutting your mortar off, the 1 cut. It's the biggest thing that can help you, just transfer the skills across to any type of laying. So if you're either building corners or running in traditional pick and dip, if you can press that brick to the line with, more consistent accuracy every time, and just limit your amount of time spent on each brick, you're in effect you're speeding the whole process up, throughout the day. I think I'm coming up to another little set I do here, so I'm doing a little bit of a long spread here. As you can see, look, squeeze and scrape. Obviously there I get it down to a 2, and to be honest, 2 scrapes, if you can get 2 scrapes every brick, you're pretty much there. And then your 1 scrape's just honing that extra skill there, a bit of shoe shining again there on the trowel, on the face of the brick. And you really just want them 2 swipes really to be the most efficient, and that's what I'm about obviously on this channel. I'm trying to be, trying to improve, trying to better myself every time every brick I lay, I try to make it better than the last one I laid. So it's just constantly there again, like a little bit of rubbing action there because I had to get down to the line, but that comes down to your bed as well, obviously depending on the type of brick, which I've mentioned before. Obviously these are frog bricks, so they do, obviously you're laying frog up, you're laying, obviously putting no grooves in your spread again. That's just to limit movement and limit time. So they are not going to go down as easy as a perforated brick. This is probably the one swipe technique is probably a little bit easier to learn, on the the perforated. Obviously this is just me building a little corner. This is what I mentioned earlier about me speeding it up, but that's probably a lot easier to learn on the perforated style. But there's nothing to stop you doing it on the the frog bricks. It just takes more practice. I've seen, I think it's Daz with Brickwork Fundamentals. He did a few videos doing the 1 swipe technique, but he was putting grooves in the spread and just putting the right amount of mortar down. The whole key to this, the whole 1 swipe technique and increasing your speed with every brick you lay is just getting that feel in your hand, just knowing how much pressure to put on. Obviously it can massively vary to the moisture in the brick, whether it's winter or summer. The type of mortar you're using can make a big difference, but it's getting that feel for it every time to where you press the brick down with more confidence. You don't over press the brick under the line, you don't under press it to where you're going to have to take 2 or 3 swipes at it. And that's just the main thing. It takes an element of relaxation as well to do it, because if you're trying a little bit too hard, you're not going to do it. You're going to be too eager to keep the shoe shining that face of that brick every brick you lay. So it's something that just takes a bit of a flow state, a bit of a rhythm to achieve, but it can be done and you can work on it. That's the biggest thing, you can work on it, be conscious of it when you're laying. It just comes, it doesn't reduce the accuracy. Some people say, if you're not spending time on each brick, you're reducing the accuracy, and it's just flat out wrong. You can be fast and accurate. You just have to practice doing that, and just practice laying the brick as such, to where every brick, if you 1 scrape it and it's fucking above the line or below the line, don't count that one. Just count that one as a failed brick or a failed rep in a sense. It's repetition that you achieve perfection and close to. and mastery. So you've got to, you've got to spend time developing that, and it's something that'll just increase over time. As you can see here, like I said before, obviously I'm running these two little corners in. As you can see, I had a perfect opportunity on this. As you can see on this like return, maybe not so much this side, but the other side I'd definitely space for a bit of timber, or even if I extended a bit of timber out to meet the brickwork, even if I built a little rack back to start and then timbered up to it, little masonry nailing, and then just kept banging that pin in the timber every course, would have definitely saved a lot of time. And I find obviously building little rack backs and stuff, you forget your ties and stuff. A lot of time, you're building little rack backs, you're having to lean over. Whereas if you're going course by course with like a profile setup, or your timber setup at each corner, to sprag your line off, you can easily course by course, every 6 put your ties in, and it's easier as well to just get through the mortar. Obviously I was building on the outside of the wall, on the inside here first, because if I'd have built on the outside, I'd have had to walk around to get the mortar. So I was here I was building the corners, and I have 3 boards set up. I was only working off 1, and those other 2 boards were just to hold my mortar on. So I made sure the mortar was a little bit wetter on those boards that I wasn't using. And then obviously I kept stepping over the wall to refill, but I think within this video I only had to carry about 3 or 4 buckets round to finish. So it was really effective doing it like this, having the 3 boards set up. If I'd have thought in hindsight, I could have maybe set a 4th board up and then just transferred some mortar, but with the time of year, obviously it's warmer, so your mortar's going to go off a bit quicker on the board. So I'd definitely recommend, if you're working, like I was working solo, obviously, if you know the situation this week, but in winter there's nothing wrong at all with filling a board up. If you're working solo for a day, fill an extra couple of boards up you're not going to use straight away. And if it's in an inaccessible location, if you're walling yourself in like I was here, fill an extra couple of boards up and then transfer the mortar over later. Saves you going back towards the tub. And with these mortar boards I tend to have, I try and get them so they fit at least 4 or 5 buckets on each board. And if you've got an extra, say if you've got 5 boards set up with 4 or 5 on each board, that's pretty much a tub. I don't know how many buckets you can fit in a tub, probably about 20 buckets maybe at max. So it's definitely beneficial if you're solo. But hopefully after Monday I'll not be after tomorrow, hopefully Labour carries on coming and enjoys it. So hopefully I'll have someone permanently with me. Obviously I got let down a little bit this week, but it's no issue. If you get pinged up with COVID, you get pinged up. What can you do? But we're back to normal on Monday. Got a nice big stretch to go out that wall again that I did some of the pick and dip on. The pick and dip music video, my favourite way to lay bricks, is that one to have a day or so on. Hopefully I can squeeze 2 days out of that wall and get it up to height, and then I've got to drop back on this wall and do the tops on, so expect some more brick on edge videos. I want to get quick at doing that. I think I'm fairly quick at it already, but I know there's things I can improve on, and neatness wise, and I'm pretty happy with how neat I am. Some people might say I'm rough, but it's on price, so fuck off. But I'm pretty happy with my standard of work. I want to just hone my skill with it, and it's a challenge, really. It's a challenge. It's some people say, why fucking put yourself through it? Why try to get fast at something that's inherently shit work? Because because I can, and if I can do it, it just increases. It puts another feather in your cap. If you hear my cat going on one, he's feeling a bit under the weather this week. I don't know why he's meowing at me like he is, but I think the heat's getting to him a little bit. He's a long-haired cat, so something that he ain't liking. Come here then, Mikey. Come here, Mikes. Come here. Come talk to YouTube. Mikes, come here. Well, he just stands beyond arm's reach, so I can't stroke him, and then he'll meow constantly. But yeah, here we are. We're here back again, trying the, doing the front tip method here. Bit of a variant. Obviously, sometimes you see me doing the pick and dip. Sometimes you see me doing the front tip. There you go. There's a one scrape. Same here again. See, if you see I catch it as I press. You'll see, various few bricklayers doing this on YouTube. It's something you don't see people consistently doing, but if you can get quick at it all the time, and if you're willing to take that maybe 5% quality hit with every brick, it's not always that case. Sometimes it's just as good as any other brick. But if you're willing to take that 5% quality hit now and again, depending on if you're on just straight runs of boundary wall, or I wouldn't recommend trying to one scrape it if you're doing your pillars on like a front of an house or something that's really detailed work. But especially on some big meat or some walls or some footings, if you're willing to take that little bit of a quality hit now and again just to get some bricks down that bit quicker, it can be definitely beneficial. And as time, as you get more used to doing the one swipe, as you can see me getting it down pat, it is definitely one of them things that can you can get really neat and quick at. It just takes a lot of time, and you'll see bricklayers, you'll talk to bricklayers on sites and they'll say they've been doing it 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, and you'll watch them lay bricks and they might not be super quick and they just might be average, and it's not because of that length of time they couldn't have got any better. It's just because they haven't actively tried to get better, and that's my biggest thing. A lot of the time it doesn't matter how long you've been bricklaying, it just matters how you've tried to improve yourself every day. So like myself, been bricklaying 11 years, I haven't got as much experience as a lot of bricklayers I know, but I've been actively trying to improve for the last 2 or 3 years. If I'd have took the same approach from day one, which I did, in the start, but if I'd have took a more consistent approach, I probably could have been faster and better in the sense. But it's something that I'm trying to improve on every day. So hopefully, when I hit the 20-year mark, I'll be 50% quicker than I am now. With an extra 50% experience on my side. So with actively trying, it's all marginal. The progression, you can't see it overnight, but you can see it from job to job. So every time you come to doing a wall or a garage or a plot, you might get that gable up, a few courses more every session. So say you can build a gable, say 16 course in a day, so it's a big gable, 50 bricks long, 16 course gets you 800 bricks. So you can normally lay 800. You might be getting that gable to 20 course after so many gables that you've built. So it might not be the second one you build or the third one or the fourth one, but after the fifth and sixth, you might find yourself getting an extra 200 bricks down in a day, an extra 300, extra 400, and obviously it can vary depending on the work and the circumstance and how quick the forklift drivers are and stuff like that. But if on average you can see this, and it's normally more noticeable when you're working on your own, because obviously you have a bit more of a true gauge of your speed because you are only working on your own. There's no other limiting fact, no other factors there. But if you can see your son laying more bricks on average, like myself, I can see my son laying at least an extra 100 bricks from 6 months ago on my own on average. You can see there, that's that 100 bricks is an absolute speed increase. Do you know what I mean? And that's without any other factors. So it's definitely something that you can improve on, and it's just something that it takes time. You know what I mean? A lot of guys, I'll get YouTube comments saying, "Oh, it's not about speed, it's not about this," but we're talking in the concept of price work bricklayers. I'm not talking private work. I'm not talking, overcharging your customers and making a killing off of a particular job. I'm talking about, you turn up to a site, you're getting 600, 1,000, and you're laying, X amount of bricks a day. If you can increase that number, you're instantly earning more money come what may. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't matter what type of job it is. It doesn't matter, it doesn't matter what you're charging your customer. This is a measurable increase that is consistent. Is consistently being able to lay more, and it just allows you to become you become mastery in all aspects, you know. So when you do that next private job, or you do that, you know, get on that next bit of good work, you're capitalising all the time on your skill, because you've put in that extra effort, extra time to try and, you know, better yourself. So so that's today. That was today's video, really talking about that. Obviously, if you know, in winter, I've got different strategies for dealing with wet bricks and how I tech stuff, you know, and because you work a little bit different in winter than you do in summer. Like myself, I don't build half as many corners, because obviously with wet bricks it's harder. You know, your walls tend to move a little bit more, but you have a bit more. I tend to get a little bit more done in winter because of the fact I don't have to keep jointing up all the time. I find it's a bit quicker to point anyway when it's wetter, so it's a little bit easier, I find. And hopefully with a new odd carrier, whether it's this ladder I've got now or someone else, hopefully consistently, you know, having someone speeding you up like that, you know, taking a little bit of a strain away from you, that can also increase your speed. People really don't tend to address that part of it. You know, your hod carrier is a massive limiting factor on how fast you can go and how much you can get done. For my case, I could see I was getting a bit capped out with the old man a lot of days, because he just wasn't able to feed me the volume of gear I needed, and that's not a fault on him. That's just you know, that's just my needs as a bricklayer increasing with the speed. So I've obviously had to, you know, and his physical health failing, you know, not his his hip failing. So I've had to get someone younger, and obviously he's my age, this lad, but you know, to be able to, you know, feed me the right amount of gear every day for each job. And that indirectly, I could tell even from the first day I worked with a new labourer, that sped me up considerably because of the speed the gear was being provided. You know, with the old man, I were getting the gobbo a lot of the time, as I used to say, and then with the bricks, I used to tend to build corners instead of profiles, because he didn't get the bricks in time in the right spot quick enough. So nowadays with the new lad who's a lot quicker, I'm going to be using more profiles, getting to site a little bit sooner. That obviously has made a difference. How many bricks you're laying in a day? If you're working an extra hour, that's an extra hour on the trowel. But all these little things can make a big difference, and it's something that you might just think, oh, it's me waffling on saying the same old fucking shit, pick and dip profiles, get there early. But it has a massive effect, and this is something that, you know, I wanna really emphasise, is that I haven't got tons of fucking money saved in my bank account. I ain't got 30-40 grand in my bank. I've not got a fucking trust fund. I ain't got tons and tons of money behind me at all. Fucking not a lot at all. And I'm just in the same position as all you guys working on site. I'm the same. I'm just like the normal bricklayer, you know, working to live, you know, earning a living for my family. You know, I've got to turn up to work every week. I can't have, you know, weeks and weeks off, because I've got bills to pay, I've got mortgage to pay. And this is why I'm so passionate about trying to, you know, make things easier, earn a little bit more money, lay a few more bricks, because, you know, I've seen the direct benefit of it, you know, just in my wage every week that I'm booking in. And it makes that difference. It does make a difference. You know what I mean? It makes you so you're able to go out for and have that extra meal on a weekend, or you're able to go and buy that extra extra luxury, or have two cars or opposed to one. You know, it does make a difference. I don't care who you are, or whatever you say, how much money you've got. You know, anyone who's got, say you've got fucking 100 grand in your bank and you've got tons saved, you know, everyone started with nothing. Do you know what I mean? Everyone started with nothing. Everyone started, for when I was first buying my house, I started with, you know, having to fucking work and not spend anything, and save to get a deposit for my house. And every day at work counted, and it still counts today. You know, you've got to, every day you turn up, you've got to try and do as much as you can, you know, be as efficient as you can to earn that extra 50 quid a day, that extra 100 quid on a particular day. They all add up, they all make a difference. And you know, when the COVID hit and we were all off work for 8 or 10 weeks, you know, a lot of us didn't have fucking savings, including myself. I didn't have a big amount saved. You know, I had to get by with what I could, and luckily, fortunately, I had enough. But you know, I know there's a lot of guys who aren't in that situation, who have either debt or, you know, loans they've had to take out and stuff like that. So if you're upping your earnings by £50 a day, you know, over 5 days, that's 250 quid by using some of the techniques that I'm employing and showing you guys in some of these videos, and emphasising that sort of, you know, you're going to make more money, you're going to, you know, be able to book in a bigger wage every week, obviously on price, that is. And, you know, you might be able to get yourself out of that bit of debt you're in, or, you know, save up for that deposit and get that house, you know, before the fucking house prices go ridiculous. And, you know, it all makes a difference. It all goes into the pot, you know, each week, each month, you know, it all adds up. So if you can just make life a little bit easier, you know, it makes all that difference. And because I'm in the same situation that most people are watching these videos, you know, I'm not a fucking, you know, I've not got hundreds, you know, thousands and thousands or tens of thousands of pounds saved in my bank account. I'm not some business owner. I don't have an LTD company. I'm a sole trader, self-employed, you know, don't have massive fucking, you know, massive investments or anything like that. You know, I'm just an honest working bloke, and trying to help a few people out there if they want to earn a little bit of extra money, you know, on a day-to-day basis, that can turn into a lot of extra money in a year or a month, or, you know, over the space of 2 or 3 years. It could be the difference with paying your mortgage off 10 years early than if you didn't use these quicker methods, and you maybe plodded along and weren't too bothered about what you earned. You know, you might be paying a mortgage for an extra 10 years with some of the things, or it might mean you can, you know, just live a bit more luxury in your life. So yeah, that's the video. That's the video, guys. That were my topics for today. That was it, really. I was sort of, you know, I think I'm going to title this video, you know, every brick counts. Every brick counts. That's what I'm going to title the video, because it does. Every brick you get a little bit quicker laying, you know, it all makes a difference. It all makes a massive difference. I've seen it over the, you know, 11 years I've been laying bricks. You know, every day I've turned up to work. Every weekday I've turned up to work, you know, picked that trowel out of the box, you know, actively tried to get a little bit better. I can see the difference. I can see the difference in what I'm earning. That's the biggest thing. That's the only thing we come to work for. You know what I mean? We won't do this for free. I know people like to say, oh, it's not about the fucking money, it's about pride in your work and stuff, and that's a load of bollocks. You know, if you didn't get your pay, if you didn't get your wage in your bank account every week, we won't be coming. So we've got to make sure that we're seeing the difference with all these methods, with his working practices, and using the most efficient techniques, because, you know, we want to see that number climb every week. We don't want to be booking in less, we want to be booking in more. So yeah. Anyway, guys, that was that's the video for today. You know, every brick counts. You know, I don't know what I'll be recording tomorrow. I think I'm going to start recording on that wall. This is in 1080p at 60 FPS, so hopefully you guys can see the FPS boost in the footage. You know, hopefully it's a bit smoother. I'm going to record probably tomorrow with new lad and just go over a few, might make a video on how to properly manage a labourer. It's something that obviously I've been sort of learning as I go, but I'm one of these people who I try and make it easy as I can for the labourer. I'm not fucking needy. I'm not going to be shouting and roping them for every fucking thing under the sun. And the less you have to ask the labourer to do, you know, the more you're actually going to get done yourself, because you're not taking your attention away. You're not using, you know, you're not taking away your attention from the wall. There is a big thing that you can do with labourers where you can over manage them. It's called micro managing. That means you're onto them for every little thing. Oh, don't put it there, put it here. You know, take away some of those error factors. I'll go into that in a bit more detail tomorrow, in the next video, because you'll be watching this on a Tuesday or a Wednesday. I think you'll be watching this video, so I've had 2 days by then, two or 3 days by then, to get a good anecdote on some of the stuff I'm going to be talking about, which I've sort of honed over the last 3 or 4 years of having different labourers and stuff, and it is a subtle dynamic. It's not the same as having a 2-on-1 gang or even just 2 bricklayers. It's a different way of working. You have to work in a different way. As a 1-on-1, you've got to work in a different way to 2 bricklayers. You'll find yourself doing things a lot differently to 2 bricklayers as a 1-on-1, just to make the work bit, the working practices be a bit more dynamic to suit you just laying. So it's a bit of a different way of working. I find it very much more efficient, but I'll go into a little bit more of how to manage your labourer as a 1-on-1, because obviously that's the only real experience I've had extensively in a 1-on-1. I haven't really worked in any big gangs for any extended periods, to be honest, more than a few months here and there. So it's something that I'm gonna talk about in the next few videos. You're gonna probably be seeing boundary wall footage after this video, and you'll be probably seeing some tile brick on edge. That's what I can think. Hopefully the weather holds up. I did see a few raindrops on the forecast, so that's something that we've got to I'll address when we come to it. I'm going to talk about rainy days, sort of how I go about them. Something that's ever evolving for myself, but I've always took I always used to be a bit gung-ho with the rain and stuff. I didn't used to like to hang about, but I've got a little bit more of a more measured approach these days when it comes to wet weather and when to call it a day and when to stick around. It's a big thing that people debate every which way, but I have a sort of way of going about stuff where, like I've said in previous videos, ever since I've gone 1-on-1, especially in the last 2 years, when I've been sort of more conscious of me working practices, I've never really had a bad week. The only time I've ever had a bad week is if I've ever teamed up with someone, and I did do that this year, January time, and that's the only 2 weeks I had a bad week. I had 2 bad weeks when I worked with someone for 2 weeks to do firm a favour, and then I just said no, I'm not doing it, and then I went back to working 1-on-1 again with old man, and then I went back to never having a bad week. So that's something that I can't emphasise enough. As being a 1-on-1, you just don't have bad weeks. So I'll talk a bit more about it in future videos, but that's the end of this one. So thanks so much for watching, guys. Hope you found it informative. Give me a like, give us a subscribe if you enjoy, and leave us a comment, tell us what you think, and I'll see you in a couple of days with another video.